Formula One is famous for the incredible racing it produces on the finest tracks the world can offer. Places like Silverstone, Monza, Spa, Barcelona and Suzuka. But now, many of those legendary circuits are at risk as Formula One prioritizes money and new viewers over the outstanding racing that has made Formula One what it is. The sport is at risk of diluting its product in a never-ending search for new fans, who will quickly realize that the bright lights of big cities will never compare to sweeping circuits that allow the sport to shine brightest. Today, I'll talk about two legendary circuits that are on the verge of F1 extinction. So, don't go anywhere. As Formula One has developed in recent years, its popularity has boomed, and the sport's current owners, Liberty Media, have tried to encourage that. There's nothing wrong with that. The more people that follow F1, the more people I have to talk to about it. I love that I can go to the pub with my friends and talk about the sport I love, and that isn't always something that I've been able to do. Their push for popularity has been a roaring success in some ways. Drive to Survive was a complete success. Whether you love or hate the dramatization of the sport in the Netflix documentary, it provides a welcoming route in for many new fans, and that is great. The Las Vegas Grand Prix had its problems, there's no getting away from that. But the actual race itself was surprisingly good and one of the better ones in 2023. The problem is that Las Vegas is part of a bigger movement in Formula One that is unanimously hated by the fan base. I am, of course, talking about the urbanization of a sport that thrived for almost 80 years on the sprawling circuits of rural Europe. Monaco may have been around since the earliest seasons of F1, but as a whole, the Formula One Drivers' and Constructors' Championship has been contested on classic racing circuits. The sport has spent decades selecting the best tracks in the world to host the fastest circuit racing on the planet. But as Liberty Media continue to try and make the sport more accessible to a wider audience, Formula One is moving away from the iconic circuits that made it and towards city streets that are more accessible and more marketable, but far less exciting for fans of the sport. Formula One cars aren't at their best doing quarter-mile drags between a variety of right-angled corners. We want to see drivers going 200 km an hour side by side round the sweeping bends of Elfin Seat in Barcelona or Spoon at Suzuka. Unfortunately for us fans though, both of those circuits are at serious risk of being dropped from the F1 calendar by Liberty Media in the near future. Races held in big cities on street circuits provide something to Formula One that many traditional circuit races never could: convenience. Fans can book a flight, get a taxi to their hotel, wake up in the morning and be at the track. Races like Miami, Las Vegas and Baku make attending for fans easy, which makes paying the money to come to a race much easier as well. But Liberty Media don't earn their money from the ticket sales of most Formula One races. They earn their money from the fees that the races pay for the right to host Formula One. It's a business model that was introduced by Bernie Ecclestone, but Liberty Media have attached a supercharger and a bottle of NOS to it. Tracks in the Middle East and city centers are paying tens of millions to Formula One to host races, and the traditional circuits just can't match that kind of money. 2024 will, in theory, play host to 24 F1 races, the most ever in a single season, and in the opinion of teams and drivers, the most they could possibly manage. That means that if Liberty Media wants to keep taking money from cities willing to shell out upwards of $50 million per race, then the traditional circuits that can't afford that kind of money have to make way. And that is exactly what is happening in Spain and Japan at the moment. The Suzuka circuit has been an almost permanent feature on the Formula One calendar since 1987. A couple of years at Fuji Speedway and the COVID-19 pandemic have been the only things that have kept it away. In that time, it's won the hearts of many an F1 driver. When Sebastian Vettel retired at the end of 2022, he said the only reason he would come back to Formula One would be to race at the circuit that he constantly called the best in Formula One. Unfortunately, the future of the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka is in jeopardy. The Osaka Convention and Tourism Bureau has confirmed plans to attract Formula One to the city, with plans for a street track circuit, making use of public roads, as Osaka looks to capitalize on the anticipated momentum from the Osaka Kansai Expo, which it will host in 2025. Chairman of said bureau, Hiroshi Mizuhata, told Japanese media, "We would like to move forward with the invitation. F1 is no longer a standalone motor race, but has turned into a comprehensive entertainment program. If we clear each step by step, it's possible to attract an entrant." No one will deny that Osaka can provide sideshows that Suzuka circuit will never be able to offer, but the heart of the product, the actual Grand Prix race, will be worsened for a move to the city. The saving of the Suzuka Grand Prix is very time sensitive. Its current contract with Formula 1 expires after the 2024 race is finished, and if it wants to renew that deal, it may have to increase its cash offering. Suzuka Circuit currently pays $25 million to Formula 1 for the right to host an F1 race each year. With the Middle East and street circuits like Baku willing to pay over $50 million a race though, Suzuka may have to match that money. If the Osaka bid can offer the money that many modern races are to Liberty Media, then they'll be tempted to drop Suzuka. It would be such a shame to see the end of a track that has seen many of Formula 1's most legendary title battles play out. In the early 80s and early 90s, Suzuka was regularly the pivotal point of the Drivers' Championship, and the wars that Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost waged against each other often ended in Japan. I could talk about that all day, but Suzuka is far from the only track at risk. There have been many reports that the Spanish city of Madrid is also planning to host an F1 race in the future. Spain has been no stranger to F1 races. However, the introduction of a Madrid track could mean that the iconic Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya could be removed from the calendar. Though the Spanish Grand Prix came and went in the early years of F1, it found its home in Catalunya in 1991 and has never missed a year since then. Back in June 2022, the government of the city of Madrid publicly stated their desire to host a race in the near future, and it now seems they'll be getting their wish. Spanish publication AS have reported that there is now a long-term agreement between the city and F1 to stage a Grand Prix there from 2026 onwards, and an official announcement could come as soon as next week. The new street circuit is based close to Madrid's Barajas International Airport and will run past Real Madrid's Valdebebas training complex and the IFEMA Convention Center, which last year hosted the F1 exhibition. However, the arrival of the Madrid Grand Prix will surely mark the end of the current host of the Spanish Grand Prix, the Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona. While not uncommon for one country to host two races in a single season, the USA has 3 and Italy has 2 on the 2024 calendar. F1 CEO Stefano Domenicali has previously said, "I don't think in the medium term, after 2026, we'll be in that situation of having 2 races in Europe in the same country, unless something changes and it's different." The Circuit de Catalunya is not as loved as Suzuka by the majority of the F1 fanbase. While it has its history in the sport, it hasn't always provided the most exciting racing, though the 2023 season's race did see 49 overtakes, which was the 4th most of any race on the calendar. A move to Madrid is all but guaranteed at this point, so all we can hope for is that the Catalan circuit can put on an incredible show for its last few races. When we get the details about the contract between the Madrid Grand Prix and Liberty Media, I'm sure we'll find that they're paying far more than the $25 million a year that the Circuit de Catalunya are. Liberty Media are taking the money, and what us fans will be left with is 24 races, unidentifiable from each other due to the concrete walls that border long straights leading from one right angle to another. That isn't the Formula 1 that any of us love. How do you feel about this trend towards more street circuits in Formula 1? Do you enjoy the glitz and glamour that the city can bring, or do you prefer the better quality racing provided by the more traditional circuits? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.